Howdy there, folks. Welcome to the My Thoughts video for Sonic the Hedgehog for Sega Genesis. Alrighty, so this game, holy shit. Much like Pokemon Red, I love this game. It's a fantastic game. And it started such a huge series. I'm not even kidding. I'm not sure how many games there are in the overall Sonic series, but holy shit. It's not hard to see why people loved Sonic the Hedgehog, and still do. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I think he's got fantastic personality. But I'll save that for a series review. Anyway, the game itself. Let's start off with the flaws because there are hardly any. Alright, so one design flaw that not very many people are going to notice. I talked about it briefly during the LP, but if you get hit and you land on spikes while you're invulnerable, you still die. You still die. That doesn't happen often unless, you know, you're unfortunate or, you know, you're just stupid, because there are... I shouldn't say that. Or you jump into a huge row of spikes, because there are some big rows of spikes. Or ones that are positioned just perfectly to where you jump and accidentally land on them, and then you bounce back, and then you land on another set of spikes. It does happen. It can happen, and it's unfortunate. I feel like that's a big design flaw. However, though, because it's so rare that it happens if you're just playing, I discovered it purely by accident. As most people do, I assume. But that is kind of a design flaw. They changed this pretty damn quickly in the Sonic series, but I'd just like to point that out. Another design flaw well, not really design flaw, just a choice that I don't really agree with is the level placement. See, I understand why they put the levels the way they did. It goes Green Hill Zone, Marble Zone, Spring Yard Zone, Labyrinth Zone, I fucking hate Labyrinth Zone, Starlight Zone, and then Scrap Brain Zone. I can see why they did this. It goes, because it's a speed level. Platforming, speed, platforming, speed, and then platforming. So, I do understand it. It generates something of a balance. However, though, in overall zone difficulty, I feel like it's poor placement. I feel like it should have been Green Hill, then Starlight, then probably either Spring Yard or Marble Zone. Probably Spring Yard, just because Marble Zone is harder than Spring Yard. And then after those two, whichever way you want to look at it, then probably Labyrinth Zone, and then Scrap Brain Zone. I also feel like this would help elaborate a little bit more on my point being, on how I feel that Act 3 of Scrap Brain Zone is, you know, actually part of Labyrinth Zone. It's just Dr. Eggman built Scrap Brain on top of Labyrinth Zone. They kind of handle this a little better level placement-wise for this theory of mine in the Sega Game Gear and Sega Master System version of Sonic 1. Because I mentioned this also during the LP very briefly. There are actually 3 versions of this game, of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. They're the same exact plot, most of the levels are the same. But there are technically 3 versions. There's the Sega Genesis one that we just played, there's the Sega Master System one, and then there's the Sega Game Gear one. You could say the Sega Master System and the Sega Game Gear versions are pretty much the same, but there are some design choices between the two that I feel like they're different enough that they could be considered different versions. But yeah, I feel like the zone placement could have been a little better. Another little bit of a little knock I have has to do with the final boss difficulty. Granted, much like what I said in... Oh shoot, what game was it? I don't remember. It was one of the games I did in the past. Sorry, don't remember. But I can cut this game quite a bit of slack on this because, you know, it's the first Sonic game. It's the first Sonic game, so it's understandable that, you know, the final boss, maybe it won't be as hard as it should be, but still, my point is that they could have made it a little tougher. That's more of a nitpick than an actual knock. Oh, some glitchiness with the enemies is another thing that I guess you could consider a knock. Mainly the Caterkillers and the one enemies that are only in Spring Yard Zone that, they have wheels and little claws and then spikes on their back, and if you roll into them sometimes you still get hit. Kind of a design flaw. They probably could have done a little better with that. But aside from that, I can't think of any more flaws. So pros of the game. The soundtrack, I gotta point out because, oh my god, the soundtrack is fucking amazing. There's not one song in Sonic the Hedgehog 1 that I hate. Not one. Not one. If I had to pick a least favorite, it of course would be Labyrinth Zone, which is still very catchy and very nice. But the thing is, like I mentioned during the LP, it always reminds me of Labyrinth Zone. And so, it just, by that nature, I don't like it just because of that. Because it's like, fucking Labyrinth Zone. Some other good things. The levels are designed very, very well. The speed levels especially, I should point out. Green Hill Zone, that wasn't even an overly good run, but it's designed in a very nice way to where there are multiple pathways, and you can get through any of the pathways, but they mix it up and make it to where if you want to get through as fast as you fucking can, then choosing certain pathways will get you there quicker. I think that that's a nice touch. I feel like the levels are designed very nicely. None of the parts I feel are overly dickish. The only really, really, really dickish thing that I can think of is Labyrinth Zone with the waterfall and the cork blocks. I feel like that was a little bit unapparent. Because who in the right mind would think, oh, maybe if I go all the way and touch the fucking waterfall, the water will go back down? Who in the right mind would think that? You know? I mean, yeah, I know about it now. Not that it matters. I know how to get through it without falling off the cork block. But my point is that, as a kid, I never fucking knew that. I don't know anyone else who did as a kid either. Another kind of dickish thing they do is probably at the very end of Scrap Brain Act 3 with the spiraling spike ball things and then the one drill robot that jumps out. I've mentioned this before. I never have gotten through there without getting hit. Never. It doesn't matter, but I'm just saying that is a little bit dickish. Aside from that, though, I feel like the level design is very, very, very much near perfect. I feel like it's excellently designed. Difficulty. It's actually not a very hard game, not gonna lie. Sonic the Hedgehog 1's actually pretty damn easy. But, you know, like, I've mentioned this during Kirby's Dream Land. There need to be easy games, and I have no problem with Sonic 1 being easy. I think that it's great. What else? Oh, the Chaos Emerald. Sorry, this should have been in the con part. I fucking hate Sonic the Hedgehog 1's special stage. That wasn't fun. It's not fun. It's not interesting. It's not entertaining. It's not even really dickiful. Yes, it's not even really dickiful. It's not even really difficult. It's just dickish and annoying, and the music is horrible. Horrible. I guess if you count that as part of a song in the Sonic the Hedgehog 1 game, then I guess the special stage theme would be the one that I hate. But yeah. Also, the Chaos Emeralds, it's not really worthwhile to get them. I mentioned that the only thing that changes is that you don't restore nature at the end. That's it. That's all that changes. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else changes. It's just, why bother? You know, anytime I play the game now, I don't even bother. I don't even bother, because why? Let's see, what else? Appearance-wise, it looks fantastic. I'm not even kidding. You know, it's a 16-bit game, so of course it's not going to look as good as anything nowadays, but they really utilize the Sega Genesis's power to make this game. I think it's very apparent. This game looks fantastic. And I think it may actually even be the first Sega Genesis game, so that's really saying something. At least I think it is. That about concludes it. Overall, this game is fantastic. I'd say that if you haven't played Sonic the Hedgehog 1, there's no fucking excuse. It's fucking everywhere. WiiWare, DS, PSP, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live Arcade, Sonic Generations. It's in fucking Sonic Generations. The Sega Genesis, computers. You know, it is even actually for the GBA, but I would not recommend that one. Don't play Sonic Genesis. Don't play Sonic Genesis. You'll fucking hate it. But my point is that it's fucking everywhere. There's also compilation games out the fucking wazoo with it. There's Sonic Jam for the Sega Saturn, which I don't know why you'd play that now. There's Sonic Mega Collection for the GameCube, and I think maybe the PlayStation 2. Sonic Gems Collection. Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. There are so many ways to play Sonic the Hedgehog 1 that if you haven't played it yet, there's really no excuse. So if you want to play it, fucking play it. It's fantastic. So yeah, again, we're into the newer part of the My Thoughts videos. I should stress, I don't really consider these videos actual reviews. I know that sounds odd. I'm just saying that I don't. Because the whole reason I'm giving actual ratings to the games is because it helps to stress my thoughts on the game as a whole by giving it a rating. Anyway, though, once again, like Pokemon Red, enough pussyfooting around. I myself give this game probably an 8.5 out of 10. There are some design flaws and some things that I feel could have been done a little bit better, such as the zone placement. So, I give it an 8.5 without adding in nostalgia or anything like that. I'm trying to be brutally honest here again. I feel like it deserves an 8.5, which is still a fantastic rating in my opinion. Anywho, though, once again, this game is fan-fucking-tastic. I recommend playing it wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. Play it if you haven't yet. If you have played it before but you want to try it again, you can find it fucking anywhere. Play it. Anywho, though, so folks, the next game that's going to be coming is finally going to be Chrono Trigger. That's the next game that's going to be getting done. Kind of lost my train of thought. That's the next game that's going to be done. I've been putting it off for long enough. I feel it's time for us to jump back into it. It's going to be a big playthrough, folks, so hopefully you'll stay tuned for that. If not, I don't blame you. I hope you all enjoyed this LP of Sonic the Hedgehog. Please, by all means, feel free to tell me why I'm right in my ratings and what I said about the levels. Tell me why I'm wrong. By all means, feel free to share your opinion. I'm always open to hear. Please feel free to subscribe as well, because I don't know, maybe you'll like my stuff. Who knows? Anyway, though, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and thank you, everybody, for the support. I'm Gene the Pink Panther. Stay tuned for Chrono Trigger. I'll see you folks later.